alive. We're alive again. Okay, so I got a broadcast for you tonight. And I just want to say thank you for your support, because we really wouldn't be here without you. And take that literally. Take it personally. We need to support each other, or we all lose. Game over. And I've never been supported before, so it kind of means a lot to me. So, here it is. Now, where did Glitch go?
Greetings, audience of the internet. It's that time of the month again, where things bleed. That time is Halloween, on every 13th. Welcome to the Glitch and FoBoT show.
Brought to you by Glitchy Productions. This show is where you get to know what to do in stressful, complicated, tricky situations. Where you get entertainment when you're all low.
Where we inspire you to grow through the psychological.
Psychos.
Now I want to talk to you about sabotage. About how characters who don't have character seem to go way out of their way to diminish the efforts of those who do have character. There is a phenomenon with new beginnings where it receives only negativity, an onslaught of morons, an onslaught of depravity. It's like a beacon of light, and all the horrible atrocities converge on that one soul trying to stand up and make a difference. There is an energy on this planet, and it is not nice. It is evil. You may call it several different things, but it is still evil. You may worship the thing you call good, and yet it is still evil. I would attempt to inspire you to see things in a very more complicated fashion, where you do not assign a name, you do not assign a title, you go with how it feels. And if something feels wrong, even though it is under a specific name, under a certain category that you should be allegiance to, if they do something wrong, then they are wrong, and they commit an act of evil, you have to address that, especially if it is in your field. And so I will address something that is in my field. Why people do not go to the internet and become content creators. The number one thing that prevents this is the haters. Haters spawn like pathetic scum creatures, like a never-ending nightmare in a video game facade. They keep coming back and back and back. They spawn because the player character is on their path. And so the number one reason why people do not create content is because of the onslaught of haters. And I have a message to you.
So, tonight's broadcast, we talk about hatred, insecurity, and malevolence, and jealous greed, and how the bad people, the childish, immature monstrosities of society, well, we talk about how those miscreants get consequences from the universe itself. Here it is. If someone does something out of hatred, then whatever the insecure, selfish, malevolent reason they had to do that to you, well, that's gonna get amplified. If a jealous person attacks you due to their jealousy, well, the universe is going to make them even more jealous of you and everybody else, too.
Those who resonate with me, those who have a sense of civility, that these haters will get consequences. It is not nice to target the young.
Gosh, those morons are supposed to be doing their internal shadow work, but they're not, Glitch. They don't even want to work on themselves. They still say bad words, they still litter, they still do bad things.
To target the isolated, to target the small, especially in these moments of new beginnings. It is not just, especially when there is no just reason to hatefully bombard them with attack after attack, and this is what prevents people from becoming content creators, from standing up and saying something, of making a difference with their own voices, with their own lives. No, they are silenced instead. And so, I would like to inspire you, the one who resonates with this, even if there is only one of you, that your voice matters and you have something to say. Do not be silenced by those inferior. They will always yap, they will always be as loud as possible, they will make the sounds, they will disrespect you in every single way, in every regard, and yet they have nothing on you. Spiritually, energetically speaking, you have so much more that you are, that you can offer. And so, you will face an onslaught of torture, and yet, because of freedom of will, this action is allowed by the universe, and yet there is a catch, and that catch is the manifestation of beings like myself, who take care of loose ends. So to speak, there are consequences to negative actions without provocation. They think it goes unnoticed. They think that no one knows what they are doing, and yet everything is exposed quantumly. Everything is seen at the same time, and it is predicted, it is well known, it is forecast, and so are the consequences. When one engages in injustice, in hostility upon the innocent, they become also a beacon of sorts. And what goes after them is far more competent and assertive than the onslaught of selfish, immature beings that went after you. So be assured that whoever did you in an unjust manner, they will receive something far worse than they have ever imagined.
Yep, that's why you're here, to educate the people when they don't obey me.
This is my guarantee to you.
Ah, by the way, I got something for us to celebrate, Glitch.
Do you?
Yeah, I do. We just went from 7 subscribers to 13.
13? How interesting.
That's something to celebrate.
Wonderful.
Yeah, isn't that special? Because we're doing the whole 13 thing on every Halloween, and now we got 13 subscribers. We briefly had 14, but they got scared and ran away, and then we had 13 again, and so that's kind of fancy, because we're still doing the 13 thing, and yeah.
Maybe someday we'll get 31.
You see, it's important to actually address the good of the audience, and not just focus on all the haters.
Well, welcome to the channel. Welcome to the show. The show must go on and on and on again. And here it is.
And so I want to personally take the time to say thank you again and to really appreciate the audience, because the audience are nice, because what they are the ones who resonate with people and creatures like you and me, Glitch.
Oh, how flattering. Who would have known that pumpkin time is such an admirable time to be alive?
They're not watching this broadcast. No, only one or two. But the rest of them, they're here for the video game role plays.
Well, understandable. For now.
And so it's like we're not really alone, but we still don't really know that because there's barely any interaction. But anyway, it's a nice sign. It's a start to something, to some kind of community, even though they're not watching us. But yeah, someday maybe. Well, technically we're past 13 now, but it's a special number. I want to celebrate it before, because it's nice to celebrate it. And so, yeah, we're now at 21, because now we have more people. Oh, yeah, this just in. We're at 24 now. Yeah, but once upon a time we had 13. So that's kind of cool. Fancy.
And we can pretend like it's a real Halloween.
You're still on camera, Glitch.
Oh, am I? How embarrassing. How about this?
A little bit more. Yeah, that's good. You're out of the way now. Now I can talk. Hey. Anyway, it's a positive, and we're supposed to focus on the positive. And even if they're silent and they never tell us that they exist, maybe we change their lives. Maybe we help them smile, and sometimes maybe they'll help us smile too. And so that is to be appreciated and reciprocated and honored and respected, because this world is so hellish and scary and violent, and so we really gotta focus on the good, and sometimes that comes in the form of a yellow fish. But maybe tonight it comes in the form of just a purple glitch. Psychos.
Okay, are you ready for your Halloween reading? Yes. Well, here we go. We're going to get started. As always, these trick-or-treat readings will have these cards. These cards are going to be mystery cards that you choose at the end. Well, I reveal them at the end, and maybe you can guess what they are. Okay? You got the colors and the shapes. You can guess the color, you can guess the shape. And yeah, that'll be for the end of the reading. Alright, so I will shuffle these. Right now, we're gonna have two piles. Okay. Mystery cards. Oh. For the ends of the readings. Okay. Let's see. Well, now I have a policy in these trick-or-treat readings. If any card flips out, then I have to put it in the center. and we gotta look at it for the entire reading. So that's my policy. And so, mystery cards. Mystery cards. Okay, I'll do this one. Okay, that'll be a mystery card over here. I'll do a mystery card over here. Okay. I want this one. Alright, 2 mystery cards, and... well, you know it's not this one. But yes, so... use your intuition. We got the stars, the triangles, the hearts, the circles, the rhombuses, the squares, and we got... the colors a little bit... different right here. Maybe I can fix that in post, maybe not. Oh, you can see it in the background, but not when I go close. Anyway, red, orange, yellow, green, blue, and violet. Those are your options. This is my deck that I made myself. You can purchase your own copy if you would like. They're called Psychic Test Cards. The link is on my website. In my card shop, makeplayingcards.com. This is my first card deck. I'm gonna have many more in my future. And so, how this reading works is that I will draw 3 of these over here, 3 of these over here, and 3 of these over here, and 3 of these over here. And then there'll be 2 separate situations. This will be situation 1, this will be situation 2. They're different. And now, the very nature of the trick-or-treat reading is that one is a trick, one is a treat. And what that means is that if it's a treat, then it's accurate for you. And that means you get some sort of... oh, what is it called? Recognition? Some sort of advice. It's like a treat for you. You get some compliments and stuff. A trick. It doesn't mean I'm deceiving you. That means that you think a situation is good, but it's really bad. And you think it's a bad situation, but it's a really good situation. And you won't know until it actually happens to you. That's the nature of the trick-or-treat readings. So, now, before I begin, I would like to discuss that I've been very, very, very angry lately. I've been feeling a lot of... oh, what's the term? A lot of heavy energy. It's the feeling of justice is coming a little bit too late, and there's so many monsters, so many haters, so many bad people, and it doesn't seem like anything's being done about it. And so I've been in this anger state, and so what I believe this reading will be that both will be tricks. We're past the luck of the Irish. Okay, the luck of the Irish reading, those were both treats. Okay, that was lucky. Here, this is chaos. This is darkness. This is trickery. This is deceit. I believe both piles are gonna be tricks in the trick-or-treat reading. And now, so just to clarify what that means for you, is that one situation is going to appear favorable, but the twist is that it's not gonna work out in your favor. And another situation will appear like it will not work out in your favor at all, but the twist of that is that there's no other way besides that it will work out in your favor. So it's a tricky situation. So let's pull some cards, make some room for the shuffles. Okay, now. See, part of this anger is like divine rage and hatred. And so what I mean, hold on. I'm using Gilded Tarot Royale and the Fey Tarot that I'm using as an oracle deck because I treat this as an oracle deck. And here's the tarot deck. So anyway, about the rage and stuff. Well, I guess. Oh, look, it's the same image. Cool. All right, so about the rage. All right, so it's the time for consequences. It's the time to chime in. There's a lot of haters out there, there's a lot of bad people, and those who call themselves good are not doing enough good, and that leaves a lot of victims to feel like nothing's ever gonna change. No one's doing their job to be supportive, to be the real enforcer of goodness and light. Everybody says that, oh, they're on the path of enlightenment, and yet they can't control their tongues. And so they spew mud language, not star language, not the language of the stars, not the expression of stars, no, the expressions of mud. And so it's quite frustrating. And I went to my breaking point recently, energetically, emotionally. I was off camera, but I just want to reveal that this is a time of karma and justice and consequences, and I want to remind people that when you do something bad, when someone does something bad, not necessarily you, my wonderful audience, no, them, the haters, the ones who just go on these rampages of hate because of their toxicity, because of their jealousy, because of their greed. They don't support, they hinder because they're jealous. They're greedy, weird, immature bullies. I will never understand them. You know, you hear of all these crimes being taken place, and it's like, how could anybody ever do that? And then people talk to these psychopaths in the jails and everything, and they basically just say because they wanted to, and there's no real deep meaning or anything. It's like these good people trying to understand the bad people. They'll never understand them because the good person will never do that. and vice versa. Like the bad people is like, why aren't you stealing? Why aren't you cheating? Why aren't you disliking every single thing you see because of your insecurity? Why are you not like me? That's the basis of every relationship. Why are you not like me? And because there's differences and everything. And so at this moment of time, the energy is, these differences are colliding, and that means war, that means frustration, interaction in a negative time. But at the same time, we are finding our own kind. And so when we actually resonate, people become ultra magnetized, I suppose. And so at this time, you're going to see people who are very drawn to you and harmonized and resonating. And on the other spectrum, you're going to see the most intense hatred ever, and all the enemies coming out of the places that they come out of. And it's just, it's one of those moments. It's the best of times, it was the worst of times. It's heightened intensity. So anything good, expect that a bunch of bad is going to come. And this is because these lowly, insecure, jealous creatures of hate and turmoil, they can't handle looking at anything superior. Okay? And then when we take the stage, when we shine, well, that triggers them, and so they can't be like us, because we have hearts, we have souls, we care. And I don't know why, but that just a bunch of haters always spawn when you're doing something impactful, when you are on a mission of good, when you're ready to put in the work to change this world for the better. And a bunch of haters just, they're like tiny little piranhas, and you're just trying to I don't know, clean the pool, and yet it has piranhas in it. I don't know. Weird analogy. Just welcome to my fish. Okay. Yeah, a story about that in my behind the scenes content. Yes. Anyway. Ready for your trick? Your trickery? Here's some little insight to your life. Okay. there's a phenomenon about new beginnings and how new beginnings are always interfered with. And so you work your hardest on something that's amazing and wonderful, and it's the best work ever, and then you put it out there, and it immediately gets an onslaught of attack after attack after attack after attack. All the stupid people come out and make stupid comments, and then you have to watch it. You have to delete it as well, but it's just... Oh, it's annoying. So annoying that every new beginning. Okay, so... And it taints. It really taints anything good, because then you're focused on the bad, and it's really hard to stop focusing on the bad and to look at all the good that came out of it, because it's so toxic, it's so hateful, and there's no justification. And that's what really made me angry for the last couple of weeks, is that I'm tired of injustice. I'm tired of being attacked viciously with no reason at all. Like, I go out of my way to be decent, to be kind, to show caringness, and I only get the opposite. And then something good happens, and I'm too distracted by the bad to really appreciate and honor and respect that, because the bad have tainted things. But there are ways to make the focus on the good. It's just very difficult, and a lot of good has happened to my channel recently, and I should be focusing on that, but it's the bad characters that always spawn in these new beginnings, and I'm really tired of it. So, anyway, trick-or-treat reading tonight. This, oh, are you ready? This reading is going to be of justice, of karma, of consequences, of trickery, of deceit. Let's do... No, I want the flyers. I want these cards to come out flying. Come on. Situation 1, or situation 2, or whatever. There's one situation over here, one situation over here. We need 3 cards. There we go. I got 3 cards. Hell yeah. Oh, look. Subnautica. Yay. Okay. Alright. Very interesting. Very interesting. I'll place those there and see these cards... Oh, what's the word? They confirm. These are the cards, and can I fit them in here? No? Okay, you're going up in the world. Okay, there we go. I get down. There we go. Okay. Hang on. Almost. Okay. There we go. And maybe let's put these ones up a little bit. And it should be good. Do I dare move my props? Okay. Now, we're gonna clarify those in a minute. Let's draw 3 over here. Alright, let's see. This situation, we need 3 cards. Here's 1. And there we go. Whoa! Okay. Landed on my lap. Like this. So, I guess I'll just rotate it like that. Okay. And now... Come on, final card. There we go. Okay. I get this card a lot in all my readings. I always get this card. It was like this, right? Okay. Here we go. Man, watermelon balls need to move. Okay. There we go. Okay. We got 3 cards over there, 3 cards over there. And Let's clarify these energies. Clarify over here. 3 cards. They don't want to merge. Okay. There we go. Alright. Now, I began these trick-or-treat readings because I was so tired of always being interfered with and missing the Halloween festivities that I could have had, but I'm also all alone and I don't have anyone to play with. So, anyway, I'm bringing Halloween every month. Halloween on the 13th, and it's 1/11/1 in the morning of the 13th because, oh, there's Injustice. And the perspective card upside down, which is upside right. I left up, down, oh, whatever. Okay, anyway. So, what I'm saying is that if the universe keeps interfering with you on, like, the special day, then time is relative. You can work around that and have your specialness, your festivities, your celebration, when you're feeling better, when the universe is not messing with you constantly. And so for me, I was tired of missing out on Halloween every year, so now I'm doing it every month. You know, the time where things bleed, and I bleed anyway every month, so yeah, I might as well celebrate it. And call for cosmic consequences because I'm tired of bleeding. Okay, so 3 over here. Is this 3 right here? Yeah, well, you gotta make an impact. Come on. There we go. Oh, I think it wants to be like this. Okay. This one. I kind of just took that out, but alright. Come on, fly. Oh, that's 3 cards right there. And a 4th. Okay, this one's going there, and these 3 are coming over here. Okay, there we go. Now this one, I kind of want to reverse. I want to see what it is. Page of Pentacles in reverse. Huh. I don't know. Alright, I need to feel these cards. Okay, so this or this. And I kind of wanted to reverse it, so I'll go with my instincts. Okay, so let's see. Alright. Now these 2 came out in a recent reading of mine. Okay, so what do we got? Alright, so, and what this is. Now, the nature of these readings, the trick-or-treat readings. Okay. Nature of the readings is that, and I told you, it's time for karma, it's time for consequences. These are both most likely going to be tricky readings. Tricks, they're both tricks. There's no treats on the table besides a pair. Because I like to treat my audience, but anyway. Okay, so, one situation. Another situation. Alright, let's start with Subnautica. Okay. This is my Subnautica card, because it's a boy in the ocean, and Subnautica just came out in May, or it will. Okay, it's the 13th tonight, and I'm behind schedule, so it's the 13th right now. Usually I try to record these in advance, but right now it's the morning of the 13th, and so, Oh, Mayday, Mayday, yes. May is a wonderful time. For me, for my channel, for things to actually happen. All these amazing, wonderful things, and then all the haters spawn to ruin it. But anyway, it's a time that I'm doing my first video game roleplay on my channel that I was so passionate about. And it's the time that Subnautica is releasing their second game in early access. And so it'll take them a few years to finalize it, and things might change. And so I'm going to do a Let's Play on that, and then that's also a pivotal big thing for my channel. And yeah, Subnautica, I'm starting with Subnautica 1, then Below Zero. And by the time I do Below Zero, because it's all frosty, then I'll work on some other icy games as well. Right now I'm focusing on water. Anyway, so for me, this represents a very pivotal time for content creation, for your own projects, for that big moment that you're supposed to pay attention to right now. And so, for your own thing, this could be like the big cosmic event. Like, the time is now to do this project, and it's clarified by the Six of Pentacles in reverse. And so Subnautica is a survival game. Let's put this down so I can be more theatrical. There you go, Pumpkinhead. Okay, so Subnautica is a survival game, and so what you do when you're surviving is that you have to combat the feelings of loneliness and isolation and despair, and find that beacon of light within yourself. You gotta focus on every tiny little good thing that happens, and make the most of your resources. And this is wonderful because, clarified by the Six of Pentacles in reverse, this means you're either giving or receiving a handout, and this means you don't need to do that. You're keeping things for yourself, and you're not... Well, I mean, if you need to ask for help, go ahead, but this represents, like, you don't need to with this energy. That you can figure this out yourself. You can survive with just diving in and seeing what's below the surface. And for example, when I'm focusing on my video game roleplays, I'm advertising my merch, and that provides an income if some kind, gentle soul wants to have a coaster for their drinks right now. I'm starting at the very foundation of my merch, which happens to be the very foundation of a mug right now. And so, why I'm bringing that up and plugging my merch is because it represents finally surviving, finally getting an income, finally having something of my own, and so I don't have to constantly ask my grandma for money. And so, with this in reverse, for your own situation, it represents that you're making things work, you're in this survival mode, and you're managing your resources effectively, where you don't need to ask for help anymore, because there's an ocean of possibilities, a sea of resources just for you to claim. You just have to dive in to find it. And so, with passive income, that means creating a merch line, being more entertaining on YouTube, and teaching on Skillshare for the passive income strategy. And so, part of survival is also holding on to your resources. And so you're not giving away so much of your time, energy, resources. You're keeping it for yourself because you need it to survive. And so that's the clarification of this card. You're soon going to find your... Damn it. I just remembered this is a trick. Oh no. Like I said before, the tricky readings, this seems wonderful, right? But if it's a trick... Oh no. If it's a trick, then it might be like you're lost at sea and you need some help. Okay? So, that's probably what this is. Anyway. Don't feel shame for asking for help if you need it. But in your future, in this survival mode, it represents a good positive thing of actually being capable of going out and seeking the food for yourself and not having to rely on someone else to feed you, basically. But if this is tricky energy, like I'm predicting it is, then it's like a delay. It's like you're lost in the ocean, some sort of disaster happened, and you have to rely on someone to support you. But then the other trick is that if this looks like a bad situation, maybe this person's helping you. Maybe they're getting you out of this situation so you can fend for yourself. And so maybe this is people buying your merch of your Subnautica series. And I want to clarify, you're not making merch specifically of a particular video game. You're going with a theme. Like, I can't draw a peeper and sell it. No, that's Subnautica's merch. I'm doing ocean-themed merch, and so I'm specifically playing ocean-themed video games to sell the ocean-themed merch. So just as a warning to people making their own merch out there, that don't focus on the actual creatures in the video game. Like, make your own creatures that are water-based with your own talents and creativity. Like, a dolphin is gray and boring, right? Well, make a dolphin interesting. Make it blue and speckly with like dots or stripes, and then that's your own creation, and then you can sell it. And so it's also a creature of the water, and so you can play something that has a water theme and then make merch off of it with your own creations. And that is the difference of just copying someone else's creation, like a Pikachu or a Peeper. You need to make your own creatures, or just focus on like the background designs, like a coral reef, so to speak. Like, reality is boring and gray and brown, and reality is disturbing, so make it fantasy, make it amazing, make it actually colorful and abundant and vibrant. And like, the coral reefs of the ocean in reality are they're boring and gray and brown, and it's just not interesting. And so if you have like these vibrant purples and reds and yellows, and they're like super saturated, well, that it should be reality, but it's not, so it's fantasy. And so you make it a reality, and that's what this is. Nope, these were like that. Okay. All right, so there's that. Gosh, thinking this is a trick. I start to interpret it this way when I'm focused on the trickiness. Anyway, there's the situation. You're lost at sea. You're in survival mode, and you need to learn how to rely on yourself and not rely on others, because if they're not there, then you lose, because game over, because you're dependent on this. The moment you find out a way how to not be dependent on this and make your own way, and that's just general life advice. And I know it's difficult. I'm 36 and I'm still living with my grandma and dependent on her financially, and so Subnautica is like a big moment for me. And there comes all the haters, which there's karma. Okay, karma and justice. Like, it's just, people think they can get away with an action that the universe knows every single little thing you're doing, and it will respond to you. I don't have to even notice it, and I probably won't, but the universe knows it, and the universe takes care of it. Okay, gosh, like, they wonder why all these things happen in their lives, and they're doing bad things to make that happen, and they're trapped in this vicious cycle. And so I'll bring you to the energy of the void right here. The purple circle is the energy of the void. Now, oh, well, you people don't know me. Okay, so I'll tell you. I've been working on a novel ever since I was 13 about a void-like dimension that has to do with the dream world, the spiritual world, and I've been writing that story for a while now. It's not published because I needed more life experience to actually make it what it should be. And so now I'm doing these readings on the 13th, and I started this when I was 13. And so, gosh, the void represents the spiritual dimension, the mind, the dream world, and how we navigate the void. We need creativity and honesty. In the void realm, nothing is hidden, and yet everything is hidden. It's like a puzzle. It's like a world where you can walk on the walls and the ceilings, and just it's based on your imagination. Like Star Wars with the Force, it's all about your perspective and how to manipulate things. Like, I'm surprised that the Force wielders in the Star Wars universe don't levitate and fly and have all these special powers like superheroes do. And they're more like grounded, and I'm kind of surprised about that, because they can do the Force thing, but they're focused on swords. And anyway, they could, there's so much potential what they could do with the Force. And anyway, okay, so now we're talking about business, right? Okay. This is 2 restful cards right here, clarifying each other. Now, this is the daydream card. This can also mean procrastination, or you're finally resting after a hard day's of work. And this is the imagination card. This is the physical exhaustion, the waiting. Now, it depends on your situation. Maybe, because this is a tricky situation, maybe you're waiting for something that you shouldn't be waiting for. Maybe someone told you to wait. Someone told you have to wait, and yet that's not the case. And so, you don't have to wait, you gotta get things done. And that could apply to someone. Another thing is the internal struggle of motivation, of inspiration, and sometimes you just gotta get up and do it, because you're waiting around to get inspired, and yet the things you see online just trigger you or insult you or bring you down. And sometimes when you get into when you want to get into the mode of stuff, you just have to get up and do it and start. And then once you start, then you're going to adapt and get more into the flow of it. So, this is my trucker card. Okay, maybe someone out there is a trucker. But this is like, you packed some sort of cargo vessel with all the stuff, and then you're tired, right? This person's about to fall asleep, their eyes barely open, and they're in a seated position as if they're driving. And so, and clarified by the reversed sitting card, like you're already asleep in a dreamland. I want to remind people driving on the roads that you always underestimate the power of tiredness on the open road. Even if you got the caffeine drinks and the music and everything, just being on that road with the repetition of the long drive, it makes you sleepy, and your eyes start to close. And so, and here's a chalice. So these could be energy drinks. Hopefully it's not alcohol if you're driving, but it's a reminder to not drink and drive unless it's caffeine. And yeah, even with the caffeine and the music, you're still gonna be lured to a sleepy state. And so even if you don't feel like you need the rest, it's a good strategy to stop at, there's 36 on the recording, stop at many different rest stops as possible, just to walk around, get your brain used to new information, and that'll keep you awake the more you stop at these rest stops and just walk around. You don't have to buy everything. You don't have to buy anything, just stop somewhere and walk just around a little bit. It stretches your legs out, it sends new information to your brain to keep you activated and awake. And so, even if you don't have to, you need to, because elsewise you're gonna get all drowsy and sleepy and fall asleep on the road and not be as aware as to the dangers, maybe cause an accident, or not be awake enough to move out of the way of an accident. So that's a real risk right here. And we got a survival card in this situation. There is some sort of survival situation that you need your focus on. And whether that is... what am I saying? Whether this is a trick or a treat, it's necessary for any situation you're going through, is to try your best to be self-reliant, but don't feel shame for asking for support. And whatever you're doing on your journey, you have to rest along the way. You have to stop before you think you're ready to stop. And okay, so this is like daydream, procrastination. This is resting after a hard day's work. You did the thing, but now you're drowsy. And so I believe it came out like this, I think. And so with this meaning, this is more like procrastination. Like, you got all this work to do and you're focused on something else, on trying to find the inspiration, when you could just begin, and then that inspiration will come to you. And it's all about getting into the habit of doing something again and again, something beneficial to help your situation. Start small, little by little. Maybe if you're getting bored of it, just put it off for a moment, refresh your mind, just like a long road trip. Just refresh the mind. If you're too focused on this, it's a 1:33 on the time on 5:13. And so if you're too focused on something, then just switch it over to a different input for your mind, and then go back to this when you're ready for it. Go over here, go there. And so it's about focus, it's about awareness, as confirmed with the void card in the middle. That it's your emotions, it's your focus of mind. Like, I pride myself for my creativity. I've been writing stories for a long time. Nothing's really published besides that baby book, and I'm starting to do the video game roleplays, and I have such confidence in this, in the creativity, because I've been doing it on my own without the intent of publishing, without the intent of content creation. But now I'm a content creator. Now I can put those skills to actually be of use, and financially. And so my point is that I pride myself on my creativity, and yet, due to all my traumas that I've experienced in my reality, I never have good dreams. I only have nightmares. And even when I'm laying down and trying to focus at my best on something positive, I always have nightmares. And part of the void realm is that it's the dream realm. It's the place of the nightmares. And there are techniques to deal with nightmares once you're in them. It's just, if you don't have that positivity in your life coming in from an exterior source, then it's just negativity, and it's so difficult. There's just nightmare after nightmare after nightmare, and part of this whole focused survival thing is about shifting your perspective and really mastering your mind. And so I'm surprised with all my creativity that I still have bad dreams, because I can't stop the nightmares, and I got a lot of trauma too, so got plenty of experience points in this existence, but still I have bad dreams, and it's like Maul. Okay, I've been watching Star Wars Maul, the Shadow Lord, and I'm an emo, and I'm a darkling. I'm into darkness and emos and everything, and yet when I want to think of Maul, no, I don't think of Maul. I think of my abusive family being stuck, trapped, living with them. And so, as much as I want to think of Maul when I'm dreaming, I would have a fantastic nightmare if Maul showed up, but no, I get my abusive family showing up in my nightmares. So, again, this will not change unless my external reality changes, and so I think the reason why I'm having the nightmares of living situations with my abusive family is because I cannot provide for myself financially, and so I'm still dependent on an abusive family member financially, and like I'm right on the verge of actually making money, but someone has to care enough to give me money. And so, I'm providing a service, and they just have to be interested in that. But anyway, it's the nature of having an income it's not reliable, and so the mind wanders about, well, how am I getting my next meal? Where am I going to stay if this thing falls apart? And so, as much as you want to fantasize about the Maul character, the Maul, the Shadow Lord, no, you're stuck with the abusive family, just yattling on and on and on. It's just... Anyway, this situation is about survival. This situation is about focus of the mind, of distractions. Yes, I'm watching Maul the Shadow Lord instead of focusing on my video game roleplays. It's May time. It's May the Force be with you. Maul the Shadow Lord took priority. Anyway, so this is... as he should. But anyway, it's all about He's even looking at this guy. So anyway, it's about the focus, it's about the distraction, the procrastination. This is about a survival situation where you need to learn how to be self-reliant and do something that's profitable to not avoid the work. And there's the emotions. I was saying, and the fire card in reverse. Okay, so this represents anger and sorrow. The heavy emotions that are difficult to deal with, that have to be expressed. And why I'm talking about Maul the Shadow Lord so much is because he's amazing. But he's a Sith, right? He's not some hippie Jedi thing. He's a rebel. And so his philosophy is to release the anger, to use anger as a mechanism of energy to get stuff done. And that's the opposite philosophy of this Jedi thing about how you have to avoid your feelings and bottle everything up inside to be released later as rebellion. And so, yeah, whatever the situation is, it's survival, it's making something work for you, it's about trying to figure out how in your situation you can make an income, an impact in your field to where you can support yourself. And so there's anger issues, there's sorrow issues, feeling a lack of support, feeling isolated, feeling stressed. This is difficult emotions. And then the reverse of this. So because these are both tricky situations, I'm going to show you the reverse of this just to see what will happen. Now, the reverse of this is a fire man, okay? Fire represents passion and creativity and that willpower, that drive to get things done. In the background, these are buildings, so this guy's a builder. He has a vision, and he's got this master plan, and he's going after an agenda to actually create something, to build like his own empire. So he's very focused on this creation of his. And then clarified by the Queen of Cups in Rising Energy, this is a balanced, level-headed, calm water type of situation where there's reflection and mastery over the deeper emotions, as opposed to there's the rage and you don't know what to do in your situation. Things are crumbling. You're trying to put things together, but they're just not working. And then there's the emotions, the devastation, the despair. And so, I mean, you're working on something, but there's an element of procrastination here. And let's see. Yeah, that's basically it for the situation. That you got to do something to survive, and it's a tricky situation to work together, to put together like a puzzle. And when things don't work, like you're trying to assemble something and there's more issues now, or you just bought something to fix your life and now that is more of an issue than the thing that you previously had. There's this thing where things you're so used to them falling apart, you're like, why even try anymore? And again, it's about your focus. So if this thing isn't working out for you, just put it aside for a bit, focus on this. And then when you're done with this, and focus on this, done with that, go back to this. It's about building up a habit and starting something so that you can get into the mood of that thing instead of relying on the mood first to start something. The key element to avoid procrastination is just to jump in like a fool and see what happens. Just wing it, and then you'll get in the mode, and then you'll get into the specifics, and you'll feel like building again. And you're not at your best right when you start. You're at the best after the momentum begins for a while. And so you got to make a splash, though. You got to go through the surface of the water, the choppy turbulence, to get to the depths, to discover all these treasures. And so, how would this be a trick? I mean, I'm just gonna reverse all these cards and see what happens. Okay. So, perhaps the trick is that... Perhaps the trick is that you're lazy and procrastinating, and yet the twist, the trick is that you've done a lot of work, and you're still building, and you're more level-headed than you think you are, or you're level-headed right now and there's no emotional upset. Now this can be a future scenario, so just watch out. It's trick-or-treat readings are tricky to talk about. Anyway, this could mean that people are actively supporting you with what you're doing, with the attention, with the resources, with the care, with their support. And so maybe you don't have to be in survival mode because of this. And here's the balance of the elements, the water and the fire. And so you're putting that anger to good use for the building, the construction of your projects. And you're using the sorrow to be emotionally aware of when you need to step back from something, when you need to engage, and to prevent the more turbulent emotions. And you're developing the habits to get more work done on a regular basis, rather than just watch something that entertains you for a while, instead of doing something that needs to be done at that moment. So I think the key element here would be the giving and the receiving. That, like I said, in the survival mode, you can't spare your resources when you're in survival mode, because you need those resources for yourself. And yet, perhaps the trick here is that to survive better, you need to share and trade and make some sort of offer, rather than just hoard your resources and survive. Maybe that's the trick, where you need to give, you need to receive at this moment. And allow yourself to receive help, to ask for help, instead of doing everything yourself, because we're humans, we have limitations, and we're supposed to only focus on one thing, and then other people will focus on other things, and so this one will then trade for resources and this and that. And so, for an example, you can't master everything in life, okay? So, say one person is good at mechanics and another person is good at art. Well, a mechanic might want a piece of art, and then an artist might want some sort of machine to be serviced. And so they work together, they make a trade, they make a deal, and then the community thrives as a whole because there's an economy. And so perhaps you don't go it alone. Interact with the community to make these deals, to not have to do everything yourself. You don't have to become a mechanic if you know nothing about machines. Just embrace the artistry path, and then make money from your art, and then you can pay the mechanics to do their mechanical thing, and then the mechanics will focus on their mechanics and then pay for the art. It's a win-win situation. And so that could be the trick here, that you think you got to do everything yourself, and yet there's help out there who's willing to support you. Perhaps maybe that's the trick, and you think you're supported, but you're really alone and you have to do everything yourself. So that's the element here. And whether you're in anger or in sorrow, use that energy as energy to make something happen, to get you out of this procrastination mode. But also celebrate when you got the work done. You gotta give yourself a little celebration moment that you did a good job, you got this done, and to reward yourself, to be happy about that, and avoid the avoid the toxic, hateful monsters that are just actually providing a service. They're just doing it negatively. Every dislike actually helps because it's registered as engagement, and so the channel thrives off of the dislikes, and yet all these haters are so determined to dislike and just for vanity, because they're jealous, because they're just hateful monsters. They want to attack, and yet they're still watching the content, so it's more views. But anyway, it's one of those situations that they're not making the impact they think they are negatively. When the universe saw what they did, but the universe is going to make the impact to them because they did that. It's like freedom of will. Sure, you can do whatever you want, but there's consequences. And so here we go to the consequences. Okay, so this is creation itself. Now we got the Ace of Wands over here, rising energy. This is like a magician type of energy, the manifestation of creation. There's a little tiny mouse there, and there's this bigger mouse here. So they're making more of what they previously made before, and so that could be a video game roleplay series. That could be another book, another novel that they've written, or some sort of like hand creation thing. Like if you create from clay or wood or something, you made another one. And so this is inspiration, this is motivation, very hands-on. You use your hands to create. This is what separates us from most of the, I was going to say monsters, animals on the planet, because we have these hands that can do things, and so we use these hands to create things, and that's why we make computers and art and everything. So this is a wonderful creativity thing, but since it's tricky energy tonight, well, okay, so perhaps you're enraged, perhaps you are vengeful and vindictive and bitter right now, and so you want to set the world on fire with the ricochet energy that you've accumulated from all the hate that you have received. That's the thing about haters. Okay, when haters send out their hateful energy, it's received. Okay, it's charging up in their target, and then it's released back into the universe, back to them as ricochet energy. And so that's what these morons don't understand. It's going to be far worse for them than what they've ever done to you. And so this is probably what this is. This is creation of a positive manner. This is creation of a negative manner. There are cosmic consequences, like I said before in the beginning of this reading. So let's see the rest of the situation. Okay, so we got this card and this card. Okay, Seven of Wands. It's another survival card. Okay, this can represent an enemy that's trying to steal from you, or it can represent you trying to survive. And notice how he's holding 5 of these swords and dropping 2 of them, and so that means that he can't carry everything. He has to leave something behind. And the fox, the cunning fox, the trickery, the deceit, sometimes trickery is needed in survival situations to escape from abusive family members. And when you're making that escape, you can't bring everything with you. You have to sacrifice something to make your move. And now, these were in reverse, but it's clarified by the the water bearer with the water rising, and you know, in reverse energy, the water's pouring out, right? Interesting. Kind of like a water bender in rising energy, which is like the people of the force wielders can do. Anyway, if they wanted to. Anyway, okay, so this is the trickery and deceit card, clarified by creativity, by focus. This is like a water bender. They've mastered this. They're mastering this element, going with the flow, being tricky about something, being adaptive. Go with the flow and adaptivity here. And sometimes you have to take. We're taught that taking is bad, but sometimes you gotta actually take, and that doesn't mean steal, it just means take the opportunity to have that, to be more of a opportunist, because if you don't take that chance, if you don't take that opportunity, if you play it safe, then you're not gonna have that extra resource that you need for your survival situation. And it doesn't mean steal something, it means this is your moment to stand up and speak. Are you going to let that moment pass you by, or are you going to take the opportunity to go see that interesting person over there and try to communicate with them? You take the opportunity. And this is adaptation, this is like winging it. You're doing something adaptive, and it can change at any moment. And so the advice with this situation is to go with the flow, and like the Jedi and the Sith, the Force wielders of the Star Wars, you gotta feel into the energy. Is this the right time, or am I feeling this resistance for a reason to not engage with that, to go this way? And so in reverse, it could mean you're not strategizing and you're taking the path of least resistance. And it's a little different than going with the flow, but it's also the same. So taking the path of least resistance is not getting up from your chair and walking over to that special person who might be the most amazing person that you'll ever meet in your entire lifetime. The path of least resistance is, oh, you can't be bothered, they're all the way over there, and so you don't make a move, and that's the path of least resistance. It's a little different than going with the flow. Is that, okay, I want to go over there, I want to talk to them. Now, I'm not feeling, it's the moment right now, but I'll move over here and wait a little bit. Now is the perfect moment. And so it's different than, I have no strategy, oh, they're all the way over there, I'll take the path of least resistance if they come to me. But then there's gender roles, and if the man just waits around when the girl's ready to receive and the man doesn't do anything, well, then that's a lost connection. So path of least resistance is like, oh, well, I could drop you off, but you're not going my way, so I might as well disengage from this relationship entirely, because it's just a bit out of my travel distance. And so that's like the thievery, apathetic, pathetic path of least resistance thing, as opposed to going with the flow and adapting and taking the opportunity to make the most of the situation. And so, yeah, perhaps you got advice recently to take the path of least resistance and just let things happen, when it actually takes active intelligence, active action. And you gotta, like the force wielders, you have to master the energy of the room to know if this is good timing or if this is bad timing, to go with the flow instead of taking the path of least resistance. And this could be like hoarding resources instead of making your escape. This is like actively making a move. This is staying in that situation. So there's that advice. Okay, and then these. Now, this was the card that it came out kind of like this, and as a card like that, and I had the instinct to turn it around for it to come out like this. And so I always get this broken cup card, and quite interestingly enough, the cup card moved. He looks like Maul, the Shadow Lord, in this situation. Okay. And she looks like Devin from Maul, the Shadow Lord, in this situation. So, interesting. Just gonna point that out, because I've been watching that series over and over again nonstop for about 3 weeks now. So, anyway, I'm trying to build up an obsession so I have better nightmares, okay? It's not working out so far, but once I get an income, I'll probably stop dreaming about the abusive family members, and then I can focus on more interesting nightmares. But anyway, so this cup always comes out a lot, and so again, with the void, to clarify these things, it's all about perspective, and like what I was saying, to flip the cards around. Now, this character in the cup, okay, she doesn't have much. All she has is this broken cup, and I've said this in other readings where if this cup wasn't broken, then you couldn't see her, right? That it provides a service, it provides something, and quite interestingly enough, I have a crisscross chair. It's a chair that I can put my knees out and do the crisscross leg thing like this, my elbows or my knees. I can do that on my chair because it's big enough. That's a crisscross chair. That's a giant chair, but then it started creaking and squeaking, and I realized that because it can tilt too, it can go backwards and forwards, and so I realized it needs WD-40, and so I just made a video that you probably won't see for about a year, but behind the scenes about me fixing my chair, and I put paper in between the bolts so it would stop the creaking, but then it started squeaking and it drove me insane. And then I realized, well, it's the tilting feature that has mechanical parts that I can't access, so I'm just gonna squirt some WD-40 in there, and that fixed the squeaking. But now it occasionally still creaks, sometimes, and it's not as bad. It's just there's the occasional creak, but creaking is better than the squeaking. And so, anyway, she doesn't have much, okay, but she's making the most of her situation. And just like this outfit card where the character has fancy clothes, he doesn't have much either, but he's dedicating himself to wearing this because it makes him feel like the character that he is. And so with that, it's an investment to be in this mode, because if you're just wearing a t-shirt, a plain, standard, boring t-shirt, you're not going to feel like you're doing this theatrical thing, because you're not. You're in a t-shirt. And so this is necessary. This is fancy. It's what's the word? Extravagant. It's something extra. It's something fanciful. But it's necessary. It's essential because it makes him in this more theatrical mood, and just like her, she has what makes her comfortable. And it's not a lot, And so for the perspective thing, someone might look at this and say, oh, well, you're rich, you don't need money or something, but then you're starving, and just because you have one fancy outfit doesn't mean that you have money. And so, anyway, with this card, you may appear like you're living in some sort of luxury, and yet this is all you have, is your broken cup that you get to sit in because it's comfortable. And that's basically what this is. And so with the reverse energy, it's like you're not paying attention to what you have, kind of like the perspective over here. The mechanism of the void of the dream dimension, that you're not valuing the chair that creaks occasionally, even though you stop the squeaking. But once you do, then it'll be like, yes, I do have a chair that I can sit on comfortably, even though it creaks sometimes. And at least I fixed the squeak. Creaking is better than squeaking. So, in reverse, these energies are like, you're not satisfied with what you have, you're not enjoying the little things, you're not focusing on the only happy things in your life, in your miserable reality. That you gotta focus on the little things, you gotta focus on the small achievements, the accomplishments that you earned this, and you invested in yourself, and you're making the most of your circumstance, you're providing for yourself, and so it's a matter of perspective. So if this was like this, well, then it's an upgrade. That it's you came from the shattered, broken mess of a situation, and you found out what works for you, you removed yourself from toxic elements, and you made an upgrade for your life. And so maybe I felt like this because you have to focus on the positives of your situation here in order for you to get to here, and so you can turn this around. And in this energy, it's like you don't need the big fancy stuff. You're happy with your cup because you're free here. Okay, this is restriction, this is order, this is expectations placed upon you that you might not be interested in to live up to. And so you have the freedom of being on your own. Even if you don't have much, you still have your freedom to decide, to choose. And so instead of playing the role that someone else gave to you, you're being your own character. You're playing your own role in your own story. And so it's some sort of upgrade, but it's in order to achieve this harmony state of being satisfied with your current surroundings. You really got to focus on the little things that are the only happy things in your existence. And so, yeah, right now it seems like you're not focusing on the little things that are going well for your situation. And so once you do, then things will be more comfortable. And again, like maybe you have a squeaky chair, put some WD-40 on it and put paper between the bolts, and maybe that will fix the situation enough for you to have mostly comfort in between the creaking. But it's not the creaking, it's a creak randomly. But anyway, so this tricky situation, let's see. There's creation, there's the flow state versus the taking the path of least resistance, there's the inaction versus action, there's creating for good or creating for bad, which means ricochet energy. And here's some consequences when people do bad things, when they're only creating for bad intentions, then they're going to get the badness in their situation multiplied because they haven't figured out how to care. They haven't been kind. They don't know how to do that. So the universe is going to pay them some extra attention in a way that devastates them. It's not exactly what they're doing to others because they're arrogant, right? The people who backstab and are selfish, they will do something to someone that they think that they can handle, and yet the universe isn't going to attack them in the same way exactly how they attacked someone else, because if they're so arrogant, oh, well, I can handle this, so I'm gonna throw a bunch of negativity. Well, the universe is going to strike from a different area in a way that they can't handle it, because they actively went after the innocent to cause misery and discontent. And so, just because they think they're safe in one area, there's going to be another area that they're not. And we got foundations and water. So we got solid and water right here, and they're both in reverse. And so this is like a disaster, some sort of repair job that you need to make, whether that be for your home, your room, your environment, your situation, your circumstance, some sort of friend thing, but this is very solid, very liquidy. So it could be water damage, it could be an earthquake, something like that. Yeah, we got fire as well. So, you know, if we just go like that, you got a disaster right there. So, how is this situation different than this? Alright, so this is a self-sufficiency, sort of change your focus, complete something, honor your accomplishments, seek help if you need to, or be at a point where you can be self-sufficient. Also, you know, remember the trade. If this is like a tricky situation, either hold on to your resources because you need them, or allow yourself to trade so you can exchange resources and then grow. And then this one, about taking action, or not taking action, of care versus apathy, to focus on the little things of your life, to honor and respect them, to upgrade your life. And this is creation, but like I said, this is when you're inspired to be inspirational. This is when you're inspired to be detrimental in a way that sometimes things need to burn down in order for there to be space for new growth to arise. And just like Maul the Shadow Lord, this guy over here, he's taken the path of vengeance because people have done wrong, and so he's taking care of that. He's bringing order to the atrocities that he's suffered by his own chaos. And so this is a sign for you that because of karma and ricochet energy, it's a sign that things are going to be taken care of one way or another. The cosmos of the universe, you don't even have to be aware of the disrespect, you don't even have to be aware of the abuse. The universe sees it, and the universe is completely, intimately aware of what's going on behind the scenes in the minds of these monsters. Okay, they arrogantly think that they can hide but they can't. Everything is known, and in the void dimension, it's quantum. It doesn't matter the distance, it doesn't matter if you close the door, things can still see you, things can still interact with you. And so, these arrogant people who do bad things all the time, they think no one's watching. And so they make all these negative impacts, and yet, something sees it. And this is a sign that while you're in creative mode, while you're working on your projects, something else is in destructive mode, and they're working on the ricochet. And these are cosmic spiritual forces. And so, let's see. How would, yeah, the path of least resistance versus the flow state. Okay. This one, instead of fixing the chair, sometimes you gotta get rid of it. Like the rollerball mouse that I had. This is the result of that. I used to have a rollerball mouse that I paid $60 for. And I had to do maintenance on that rollerball. And then it got dented. This thing got dented, so then it would be like clunky instead of smooth. I wanted this to be smooth for my video game roleplays because I do a lot of cinematics with so I want to go like this. But no, this thing, it only held for like 3 spaces, and these things that held the rollerball were sharp, and so if you put the ball in like that, then it would dent the thing, and then the wheel on the thing, so there was this wheel that went around it, that started squeaking. Okay, so my computer mouse started squeaking at me, and so I had to kill it, and this is the remnants of this. This is nice. It's just now it's dented and little tiny dents in it. So I'm thinking maybe one day, once I get money, then I can afford my own place, and then I can afford cats, and then I can give this to my cats. Maybe. This might be fun to play with, because I paid $60 for this. But anyway, so it just sits in here, and then I put my fish in here, the only good thing in my life. And so it's like a fish egg. But anyway, you gotta focus on the little things to enjoy your life, or else you won't. And so that is a lesson for the void, for the perspective. And again, with the nightmares, you can't really be free from the nightmare of the situation unless you actively do something to make a change. Like, when I was on my bicycle, when I didn't have transportation, then I would have nightmares about being on my bicycle. Like, after I got the car, then I would revert back to the nightmares of not having the car, and always be on the bicycle, and always, like, miss the opportunity because I was so exhausted by the bicycle ride. And so, you gotta take the chance and explore a little bit to get your mind used to not being stuck in the same miserable situation. And once you develop enough habit, then the mind will respond subconsciously. Okay, this is no longer a threat. We're not gonna nightmare about it again, hopefully. So, but then once you're about to be successful, then the nightmares will be here and say, "Hey, remember that time you weren't?" Because the brain does, and it's gosh, I don't know how to deal with it. Every time I'm trying to focus on all the Shadow Lord, I can nightmare about my parents. So it's just, maybe he can kill them in my dreams. That'd be nice. Anyway, because they just yell and shout, and then sometimes it's physical, sometimes it's sexual. It's just, it's terrible. Anyway, so Alright, so I'm trying to do like a trick-or-treat reading. I'm trying to have one situation, another situation, but then I know there's karma on the table tonight. I know there's deceit and trickery, and so maybe something will identify attached to something in your particular situation. All I have are these cards, and I know my situation, but I don't know yours. And so, here's Subnautica. Right here. And this is another water card. Path of Least Resistance versus the flow state. And so, I'm not quite sure what else to say. But the nature of the trick-or-treat readings, when these are tricks, is that if you think this is positive, it could be negative. If you think this is negative, it could be positive. And so, now, it doesn't have to just necessarily be here or here. It could be up and down, right? Like, this scenario, this scenario, this scenario, this. Like, maybe you think this is negative, but it's really positive. You think this is positive, but it's really negative. You think this is negative, it's really positive. So it's just... it's really up to you from this point to attach your own things to this. This is what I got for you. And so, we're going to now choose this, or use your intuition. Okay, for this situation, we got Subnautica, we got Maul the Shadow Lord from Star Wars, and we got procrastination, possible truck drivers, we got handouts, or keeping resources, or being able to give resources, survival scenario, mastering emotions, making the most of your emotions to channel that rage and sorrow into something creative to distract you from the nightmares. And so that's the situation of receiving support or not receiving any support, and remembering to honor what you have accomplished, and to not get so distracted that you don't accomplish things, to take care of business, basically, instead of just constantly watching Maul the Shadow Lord on repeat every night. But anyway, so here we go. Subnautica roleplay series. It's a star, a triangle, a heart, a circle, a rhombus, a square, red, orange, yellow, green, blue, and violet. What could it be? What could it be? Okay, it is a yellow circle. Alright, yellow circle. We got the Queen of Cups wearing yellow with the chalice. We got the sun right there. It's right next to my fish, that's yellow. We got these yellow things. Interesting. Okay, so when I was miserable and depressed a long time ago, I mean, it's a constant state. But when I was younger, up in Portland, I'm near Los Angeles right now, but up in Portland, I was miserable, depressed, suicidal, and I couldn't get work anywhere. And back in the day, you could actually walk around and try to get paper applications. That was way back in the day, and no one would hire me. I'd fill out all these things. And so I stopped in a pet store once, and this fish, not this one, but a fish, just, it was a puffer fish. It was a tiny little puffer fish in an aquarium, and it just like swam up to me, and he smiled, and that really made my day. And it was years ago, and so this is my inspiration behind the cyberfish that I made for my comics. You can see that on my website. And so this little pufferfish just smiled at me, and it made my day, and I'm alive still, probably because of this pufferfish. That was years ago. And so recently I got these shoes that had faces on them, right? And the slippers, but they wouldn't stay on my feet, they slipped out of them. And so I had to get rid of these shark shoes that I had, And so I went to the dollar store to pick up this laundry basket. My first laundry basket ever. I've never had a laundry basket. And inside one of them, because I check all of them to see which one doesn't have scratches or whatever, inside of the laundry basket was this thing. And it's like the fish memory. Just this fish smiled at me when I had to get rid of my shoes that wouldn't stay on my feet that had faces on them. And here's this amazing, adorable little fish. And it really made my day. And so, baby shark. And so, yeah, anyway, it's yellow. Here's baby shark over here. And I'm playing Subnautica now. And it's a big moment for my channel, for my life. I previously said in another tarot thing that this was the only example of good in the universe. And so maybe this is a treat. I don't know. But anyway, there's something good here. If this is coming out here. There's something good in here. Just maybe a situation you gotta look at it differently. Okay. Now, let's see what this one is. Alright. Star, triangle, heart, circle, rhombus, square, red, orange, yellow, green, blue, violet. What do we got over here? We got the possible thievery, disrespect, hate, assassins, and also taking the path of least resistance of not actually, your haters not actually doing internal shadow work and realizing why they're jealous, but actually just spewing out hate, littering all over the place, and leaving really bad comments. Or this could be you take the opportunity and go with the flow, and you see where your adaptation can lead you. And this is honoring your surroundings and leveling up, as well as repairing or getting rid of things that do not serve you. And it's important to have the attire that you feel you're best in to perform that task, and also the creation and the destruction right here of your creation process of your building your master project, and the ricochet energy of harnessing, making use of all that negativity that you receive on a constant daily basis. Where do you think that goes? What do you think that does? Okay, it's energy. This is a lesson of transmuting all the hate into your projects to produce positivity. This transmutation thing, and it results in a devastating ricochet energy. So there's that. Just the universe has ways to deal with this disrespect. Okay, so what is this? What could this be? Yes, purple star. Karma, ricochet, energy, confirmed. Hidden forces. Hidden forces, possibly hidden entities that are working for your benefit to deliver. Oh, what's the word? Retribution? Judgment? Something like that. This is definitely karmic. And this is the bright side of something, the silver lining. Okay, this is some sort of karmic ricochet thing. This is the positive amongst the chaos. Okay, that is what I have for you tonight in this reading of Halloween. Happy Halloween on every 13, and enjoy your evening. And remember that the haters are going to get hate, and the lovers are gonna get love. And there's no stopping that. Okay, so fantastic. Have yourselves a wonderful night and happy Halloween. On every 13. Okay, so I just wanted to. No, you can't see anything. There's no lights on. Hang on. Okay, so I just wanted to say that at the bottom of the deck, there was, when I was putting this away, there was this card. This is the celebration card. So a reminder, there's the yellow sun. Just an extra reminder to celebrate your wins, to have that accomplishment thing. That's the good of this fish right here. Okay, it's on this one. Oh, look at this. It's an egg. Excellent. So, even on missed opportunities or things that didn't go your way, so there's still something to celebrate about it. You know, maybe this was a bad egg, and you know, I've been eating a lot of eggs lately. But anyway, okay, that's my message, my ending message. You gotta celebrate what you can before it is too late.